Hello everyone, Jack Etchman here from Scootertrix Studios.
And Ted Getchman, one of the writers for Scootertrix Studios.
And this is it, the final episode of Scootertrix the Abridged, our commentary, episode 26.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, so this one, same deal as the movie. We're going to talk a bit about just sort of how this episode came about, then play the episode, talk about the different scenes, and then finally, final thoughts at the end. So this episode, I think, has the record for being the longest one in just making it, I think.
Right? As a single episode, watching it, but also, the creation of it. I had wanted to participate in the writing of the finale just because I was very interested in all the characters and seeing how their stories concluded. So I actually started working on drafts for the final episode, which at one point I was thinking in my mind might be the movie or a movie. So It was longer. I think the first script I showed Jack was 40 pages or something.
Something like that.
And her normal one is, what is her normal, like 15?
Normal's 10.
Normal's 10. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
well, script-wise, it is 15 pages.
Script
but
was,
40-page script, that's probably about 35 pages.
It was,
30 pages.
Yeah, and we went through about, and these are radical changes.
I'd say like 3 different drafts.
Yeah, 3 major ones. At one point, it was always involving Chrysalis.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't really become so Luna focused until the final draft, and as we were seeing where the movie was going and seeing kind of how everything else was coming to fruition. It seemed like it made sense, at least to me, that we conclude Luna's story, because then you could think of all of Scootertrix as almost Luna's arc. It starts with her as Nightmare Moon, being on the moon, and ends with her now actually in control of Equestria and traded places with her sister, so to speak.
Yeah. I thought it kind of fitting. And then some of the earlier drafts, I really like some of the earlier drafts, because there was this thing where it started out with a battle, and then Celestia is killed by Chrysalis. And there's one part where there's, like the guards are like, "Oh, are you sure you killed her? Did she fall off a cliff?" Because they can survive stuff like that, or it's like, you gotta know for sure. And she's like, "I saw her guts." It's like, oh, she's dead. And so then I thought it was kind of clever, but basically what you did was you had it so that they went to Pinky. It's like, what? We have to change this. And she's like, I can't, I can't see into the future or anything. All I can do is look at the past and what's happened. And so what they do is it's not time travel, but it's like they look into what's already been written. So they go back and,
what they're able to do, and I think what you're getting to is they're able to see what happened even though they weren't around. So they're looking at the past script, and they see, we see what Chrysalis is up to, and the big trick was they have Chrysalis there. She's at Celestia. Celestia's basically guts kind of explode on out, but then after Chrysalis leaves, you find out, oh wait, that's Rarity. Yeah, and Rarity was doing the entire impersonation of guts and everything else as a changeling. And because they'd already kind of spirited Celestia out of there. And I think I brought back the morph. She was carried on the morph or something.
Oh, yeah, the morph was in there for a long time, actually, which I wasn't a super big fan of. But yeah.
But there was a lot. There was a lot more war-type stuff. There was something called phasing, in which there was a point where Celestia had this spell, and all of her soldiers would like disappear from the battlefield for that second as she laid out this killing blow and wiped out all these changelings, and then her forces would appear back. And it was like during one of these phase things that when Chrysalis shot her and then she fell, and then they went to find her, and that's when the replacement happened with Rarity. And it was a really good story.
It was a fun script. Yeah, Zecora was in it. There was like lots of other characters were in it.
Some of the guards were characters.
Her lieutenants, Chrysalis's lieutenants, had more character, and they were doing stuff. And it was just there was a lot. The biggest problem, of course, with all this is that there was no footage.
No footage
of it at all.
No footage of any of this.
And so we're like, yeah, maybe stick to like Candlelight Wedding's a good place to start, and maybe try to base it off of that a bit more.
Yeah, and tried to do more with the Candlelight Wedding, but where we were going, and it was really kind of that final episode of the second season where you had Chrysalis that really, I don't know did we ever actually use anything from the Candlelight Wedding?
We did not. So we used stuff from the Candlelight Wedding, but not the last or the best night ever.
Okay,
which is what the episode was supposed to be.
Yeah, so
there were scenes part of it, and my original idea was maybe you combine the two, so you have like the Candlelight Wedding's the daytime, and then the best night ever is like the nighttime or something along those lines. Yeah. But then, and there were scenes in there, but eventually they just got cut out in the script writing stage, so there was no scenes from Best Night Out.
I think the only tip of the hat that we had to it was in the movie when Rainbow Dash goes, "This is the best day ever," and therefore the next was going to be the best night ever. But that's kind of about it.
There you go.
And it's not bad because when we started Scootertrix, when you started Scootertrix, it was a very much just a abridged parody kind of thing using that first episode, and then by the end we're not even using the episodes; we're doing whatever we want.
Yeah,
and so. So it also shows evolution.
Yeah. In terms of this version of the script, though, when this started to come about, that was literally on, what was it, like June 29th. So a month before this episode was premiered at BronyCon, we did not have the script. And so we're like, okay, we need to get this done now, because in 2 weeks we need to send in a rough draft of this thing. So we just sat down and took all day. I moved my attention away from the movie to focus on this because this also had to be done. And so we sat down and wrote out basically all the beats and wrote the whole thing out basically. And we added a bit more on July 1st and July 2nd.
I had a draft ready to go because you had gotten into doing the beats and how many pages and the beat sheet.
Yeah.
And I tried to do a 10-minute episode or something. It was like 15 pages in the first 2 paragraphs. Celestia's taken out. It was like everything was timed. It was awesome, but that was not going to work.
We were trying to figure, because for the longest time the story was about Celestia learning something, but then we always came back to, and because I always saw Celestia, her powers getting taken out as like a middle of the episode type thing, but every draft we looked at, it was always like, because that was always the thing, is like Celestia would lose her powers or something like that, or Chrysalis had a spell to wipe out Celestia's power. And then, but the problem is, I saw it as like a midpoint thing, but then it always was like an inciting incident for Luna, because this was a Luna story. And so, because if Celestia is out, then Luna has to take charge and do something. So it always had to be like an earlier thing in the story. And then I remember like I was out on our little rock pond thing in the backyard, and I was like, oh, no, the midpoint has to be a battle where they take out like the Crystal Empire. We have 2 weeks to make a whole new battle scene that took us 3 months. It took us 3 months to make a battle scene for 25. We need to do it like in 2 weeks. I can't do it. So that sucked, but I contacted Eric, who's our main battle person. I'm like, can you make like 2 shots of Zeppelin shooting at stuff? We could probably manage that. And he's like, yeah, I think I could do that. All right, let's get you into gear.
I was shocked at your timetable. I thought there's no way. It took you how many? Almost a year to get the movie done, and then we're gonna throw
this thing in
a
2 weeks, month
minute episode together in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
like,
and
okay,
and the movie is still being made at this point. So
it wasn't even done.
It's like it's all right. Yeah, and that one's still having
hours. You were up till like 1, 2 a.m. every night working on
stuff in the danger zone. And it
was all in the danger zone.
Not great. But so there's that. But we stuck to it and we were able to get it done. I'm trying to think of any other.
Well, as we go into this thing, I mean, I had, the starting point. You start off with showing kind of like the initial image, what's bad. So it's chaotic, it's war, it's this, it's that. had all this thing laid out, and then Jack's like, okay, no, I've got a sketch I want to do at the beginning.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was like, I think that was July 1st. Like, what?
Yeah.
How does this? They had to fit that in.
Yeah. Well, actually, because this thing was like 20. I think the script ended up being like 27 pages, and I was like going through, cutting out scenes. Cause we don't need this. They already say this here, and because originally we were shooting for 20 minutes, but it just became so long, so we went for 25, and then I couldn't cut it after that, so it became 26.
And it felt, as I watch it, having written other versions of it, it seems a little fast to me. But even after that, you would come back and say, you know what? We got some suggestions. We should do something with the generals to say goodbye to them. We should do something. Yeah.
We'll go into that more later, but there were scenes in here that were added on as I was recording lines, and just from feedback from different people where it's like they wanted to see like proper send-offs for all the characters that we didn't have. But we'll point out those scenes when we get to them.
So it really kind of turned into, the episode was like the first half, and then
the last 7 or so minutes is farewells to everyone. Yeah. So without any further ado, let us begin.
Now you could start off talking about this initial section.
Yeah.
This is something you added, but it works so well though.
This started off as just a sketch that I had, and I really liked it, and then I didn't want to do another short, though, and so I thought, what if we just put this in at the beginning of the movie? Because the movie's also... Or, I'm sorry, 26. Because 26 isn't the funniest episode in the world, and I want to have, like a last, like, huzzah, like, the good old times where they go off and fight dumb ham fights with other arch nemesis, And so, Starlight was a character I had kind of come up with while playing some board games. It was like it was a voice I would do
this is so much of our family. And every time you play Mrs. Wong,
and then I
wrong,
play Mrs.
baby.
Wong, and that's kind of where the voice came from. This is probably one of the best edited things in Scootertrix ever. Like the lip syncing
is really good.
Really good. The map, like I did.
Did you do the editing?
I did the editing for this. I did. I keep forgetting its name, but it's like mapping or like cutting basically bits of the person out so that like their hair doesn't move when
And then you have her with wings though,
which we explain in
the Quick Larson is a bit.
Yep. The most hilarious way ever.
Also, viewers, please note that our evil one has an equal sign as her cutie mark right now. That's important because it changes.
But yeah, so basically the point of that was just to have a nice, like, fun thing. I remember in one of the comments, and I was really happy to see this, but one of the people was like, oh, it's the last episode. I was so sad. And I clicked on it. And then 5 seconds in, I'm like, wait, what is happening? And that's exactly what I wanted. It's like you want, it's like it's somber. It's like, oh, it's the last episode, but instantly it's like, wait, what is it? This funny scene happens. And it was because of that scene, because originally Starlight was not in this episode at all. She was just going to be a one-off thing, but then we kept on reworking it, and she kept on, I think it was you actually, with her line about, where it's like, oh, she's no...
she's not a monster,
she's a monarch. And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, that is perfect. That is amazing, and we can completely incorporate her into this. And that's how this kind of stuff works. Is once you have that power vacuum thing happening, then then she can start taking over.
We were gonna have the mayor was kind of Chrysalis, and then it was like, well, when did she become Chrysalis, and how long ago was that?
Yeah,
and other things to try to bring in another character, but it really did end up working out
really well for
Starlight. Yeah,
and she became a favorite. A lot of people said it's like, oh, she was like the best part of the episode, or oh, that sucks that she only gets one episode to showcase it.
And so here we were trying to show that Luna has kind of just accepted that everything works out well with Celestia, and she's whatever she does, she does. And I don't know what happened with Chris's audio, but man, it just sounds not as good as previously. So
we got some
best we could do
criticism for that. At the end of the day, there's not too much I could have done. I'm sorry.
There wasn't. It is what it is. I mean, amateur bridge. What can you do? It's not professional.
And then, so I'll talk about Chrysalis. So she went through a lot of incarnations. Originally, in the deleted scenes, she was sort of more, sort of like typical, like evil villain. But then, it was Chris's kind of concept of the kiss in Royal Correspondence. That whole kissing sketch sort of spawned this idea of what if Chrysalis is just really obsessed with Celestia? And we went through a lot of incarnations where she's kind of like really into Celestia, and she's like basically trying to kill her to stop her from obsessing over or something like that. Something along those lines. And in every incarnation, it was like she had to die off, or there was one point where she was already dead, and it was another changeling was pretending to be her in order to prove another point.
That's right. Yeah, we had Chrysalis had died. She actually committed suicide because Celestia didn't return her love.
Yeah.
And so another changeling became Chrysalis to basically take vengeance upon Celestia. Yeah. That was another good story.
Yeah, but the idea behind that is that if you kill that changeling, another changeling will become Chrysalis. So it doesn't matter. You can't just cut the head off the snake. There's always another one that's going to be there. That was the idea of that. But I don't know. I thought it's like, we need to have Chrysalis, and I don't know.
How'd you get?
And so Alumix. So first I actually approached DWK, and I actually wrote the role for DWK. But then when he declined the role, I started thinking about, okay, we need like another like comedic actor in the fandom, and we were thinking of a couple people, and then we're like, I think it was Toaster who actually said, "It's like, what about Alumix?" And I'm like, that would be really funny if it was Alumix. So I kind of changed up the dialogue a bit to fit more of what Alumix, what more likely his voice would.
Did he jump on it right away?
He did, yeah. He was like, "Sure, I've never been in. No one's asked me to do a voice for something, so I'd be in."
Had he seen the show before? Did he?
No, he had seen a Bridge series, but he had not. I don't think he had seen Scootertrix. But he was, really fun to record. He's very giggly. Some of this stuff is. It was really hard to convey what was going on sometimes when Luna's like, "Guards, take her," and then they warp out. It's a little like, wait, what happened? What? Where did they? Are they still there? Because it's just a flash.
Yeah,
because we didn't have
in between scenes.
time to have full on them disappear.
And here, Luna, we're just trying to put out the point that Luna is not listening to people. She's following what Celestia would do, just doing whatever she wants. So
exactly.
So she's not taking their advice. She's not paying attention. So we see that change later.
Ask questions later. That's what Celestia would
There was originally more Chrysalis too. There was a scene where it's like they leave, and then Chrysalis is like, "All right, everyone, go get." It's like, "All right, we need to fan out and start getting them." Or like, we need to take out all the crowd that's in this room, and then it turns out all the crowd are changelings, and it's like they all like grouped up.
It was kind of a cover, and then it turned into a joke, and then it just kind of worked.
And then, but then we had to cut it because then it ruined the whole reveal of the pizza gag later.
Pizza gag.
Pizza, yeah. As Eric.
I like how it collapses, and then it starts to twist in the explosion.
It's a very fast battle. I think very early, like years before this, I was thinking, oh, it'd be cool to have like the Swarm versus the Emperor of the Sky. That'd be cool, and have like a whole fight. But we just didn't have the time.
What works well in here is, it was just such an easy victory, and you think, well, that's stupid.
That's
but
true.
It is. That's the point.
Yeah.
So they kind of bring back, it's like, hey, that was easy. So they call it out themselves.
Yeah.
Except Luna's not picking up on it.
We should bring her back to the castle.
Well, we think she should just stay hidden away for now. Just in case.
Something I do like about this episode is that it feels a little fast, but I think it's fine, and you're getting through a lot of the information at a good pace, I think. So we're already like in to like Ponyville starting to sort of turn on her. And there's so many people here to talk about. These are all executive producers, people I thought or like wanted to be in the series for a while, or people that I thought had great voices, and so I asked a bunch of people. It's like, this is your chance to be in Scootertrix.
I like the idea that you brought in all these different voices, and now we're seeing. You find out later that a lot of them are changelings, and they're spreading this disinformation and this rumor. We had a lot more about fake news and stuff, I think, in earlier drafts too, and it was. we didn't want to get into politics or anything and avoid it, make it more fun. This is the line. Monarch!
That's my favorite line in this.
And everyone laughed at that at BronyCon, too.
Yeah. Because it's like, oh, she's back!
Monarch! And look, she
fun.
has a different cutie mark. I wonder why. So that's the switch. The first one was really Starlight Glimmer. Yeah. And this is actually Chrysalis, who's now taken over. Because Starlight Glimmer is still in the Lost Caves. And somewhere.
Or
inescapable caves. Or she escaped to someplace
if there was
else,
a season 2, she'd escape, of
Yeah.
course. And do something.
Well, that sounds better than saying cheese for an hour.
It's great getting Kitty in here for one last time. And then Aberforth. We kind of tied Aberforth being a changeling in Aberforth's first episode because he's new there.
Yeah, that was with the stealing the balloon.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, new
It's
guy. Calls
these
us newbies.
Yeah.
He's newbie. So it's like, oh, this is a hit.
That was some great masking on my part with Luna's butt there. That was a sun cutie mark on there before. But it's not now. Shows my mastery of masking now. After years of doing Scootertrix, I finally learned masking at the last episode. The nerd. That's just a thing that we came up on Discord. Go back to leading school. You can use it with anything. And then
I've only been here a week.
That's an obscure Star Wars reference with the old woman in Phantom Menace going, "Better get home quick, Annie. There's a storm's coming up, Annie. Better get home quick." And I don't know why we thought that funny, but that's a reference to it.
This is one of we had this idea for quite a while now that there was the spell.
Yeah.
And that's why everything magically worked out. We tried to work in those phrases by Luna saying that in earlier, and that wasn't something we got in the first draft in BronyCon, but I thought it helped to bring home this idea that this has been in there for a while. Everything does magically work out, and it's because it's magic.
Yeah.
So... And this was
and I think it works well with Celestia because on the one hand she's really powerful. She's powerful enough to do this, to make a spell like this. So she is really powerful still, but it also fits in with her personality. It's like she doesn't care. So it's the kind of spell that she would do anyway.
And we didn't want to pass her off as she's completely uncaring. She obviously cared enough to desire that to make a spell so that things would work out. But she knows what kind of person she is.
Yeah.
And
with the know that I saw.
Yeah.
There was more dialogue in the scene, I think.
There was. Cut. So it took I think Luna a little bit longer to cotton on to what was going on.
Blue Bomber, I think,
did
people
talk to
this scene.
With the cutting?
Yeah. Blue Bomber edited this. Big Apple also did some edits here. I think he did the Starlight and Luna scene.
And then we gave Celestia a chance to give props to Luna. It's like, you are good.
Yeah.
You do pay attention. You do care. That's what you need.
That was part of the arc we were going for.
And there was a part there where Luna would say, well, let's just get the spell back. And that's where Celestia would say, you don't need it.
Yeah.
That's for people who don't care. You do. You will work. You will get there.
No, it's not. It's up to all of us.
And this part coming up, so this could have very easily been cut, but we had spent some money on it, and it was just something I really wanted to have because it was, I think you came up with it, was like it would cut to the castle. And then it would be the exact same shots, but it's Chrysalis and another changeling.
And they have to be just talking about something absolutely stupid,
something dumb, yeah.
Because they're all concerned. Oh, what are they getting up to? Exactly the same crap that Luna and Celestia are getting up talking
really
about.
That different.
Idiot says what? That kind of thing. There we go. I thought it was funny. I never really got the response.
Didn't get really a response at all. I don't think anyone mentioned it or liked it that much. Or
I think it was great.
I think it was just, I don't know.
I still think it's great because they love. That's
it's like, yeah. And then everyone's like, hey. Or whoever that is.
Yeah, the Four Seasons older brother Edgar.
Caffeinated Pinky. Yeah.
Yeah, Caffeinated Pinky. I would have made, if we could have done more, gotten that to be a changeling as well. I think that might have
time.
I know.
Because I also because I went in.
Mm-hmm. We had no time.
Yeah, I think we had that shot kind of planned before because I don't think our or because that was Egogak Pro Channel again, and it would have taken him a couple weeks to do that.
I came up with this, quite a while back. The idea, or someone came up with it. I won't say I came up with it.
I think it was probably you.
Yeah, but
You had a lot. You had a big hand in this one. You probably did most of the stuff in it.
this idea that Celestia is stoppable. She's not all powerful, and we saw that here. And then, of course, we tie in the names. We try to tie a lot of stuff in, just like in the movie.
Yeah.
And so we're going back to that again.
What do you mean?
So it's actually a very consistent series. If you watch the entire Scootertrix series, it actually
every episode
makes
the
sense.
only one that is like
all linking together.
that
pretty much.
Snowdrop one is the only kind of bit random one, I guess. But
Yeah.
that's the only.
Everything else is almost canon, even all the little side
yeah,
ones. And
all the specials are canon, all the shorts are canon, all the royal correspondence are
Who do
canon.
you think resurrected Sombra? Sent into the north. Spun
And I like that we added a bit more into this too from the BronyCon one, just to kind of clarify the fact that
Yeah.
Celestia's been, or Chrysalis has been there already. You can't beat the Changelings because they can be anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how do you fight an army like that?
We were really because we were watching this and then we didn't like the point didn't feel like it was getting across that much, so we had to add this extra dialogue to help that out. And Big Apple, who voiced Sunset, he helped out with that a bit.
Enjoy your little hell.
Oh, I'll be leaving here soon enough.
So, but he had a fun doing the reprise for Sunset.
We got a big laugh off that, where Sunset goes, yes. And that wasn't even supposed to be funny.
He-
He's just like he's going to get out later.
Yeah, Big Apple loved the yes part.
In a way, that's how the elements of harmony
And then
work. It's all
back to the library. I think this was supposed to be in the castle or them walking to the castle.
Oh, there was supposed to be a bunch of
it's-
shots. We don't have them.
Yeah. It's just, I see a scene and I'm like, where's a scene where they're all there?
keeping the mission secret.
And that was the idea that they've turned the generals around, but since their army's been infiltrated by changelings as well, that's why it's being kept a secret. But they've called back their forces to the castle to
Yeah.
back them up.
It really was a choice. Trust me, it'll work out fine.
Well then,
And then there's the Rarity thing. So I think I actually cut out why Rarity specifically is the one who does this. But it was supposed to be, it's like a pony can't do it. It has to be like a
I
non-pony.
don't think so, Chrysalis.
But I think that was cut out of Sunset's dialogue at one point. But
Make this unpleasant.
Rarity was always like an integral part of this
Queen Chrysalis into
thing. Like originally, like Chrysalis would do the spell. Like it was during the wedding. She would do the spell, take out Rarity, and then Rarity reveal that she's a changeling. And then Celestia would come in. It's like, all right, what I miss? It's like, whoa, what I miss? And then
People don't want you on the throne anymore.
Huh,
Something
I bet
like
she can
that.
replace Princess Luna.
Wow.
and that.
And that we just want
Wow.
to get that joke in.
Okay.
visit
Of course, it's a fun one.
But that's also, we didn't make reference to when it came across, but the idea of, that's why we wanted to bring back photo finish. And Luna makes
Yeah,
reference, I
that's
just
a
had the
bit of
photographer in her. I swear she was blind. That were hints, it's photo finish. And
Exactly.
that's who Rarity was talking about when she said she knew somebody. And again, it's just a matter of channeling the same way they do with the elements.
Yeah.
And Rarity knew that if she did this, she would have to stay a changeling forever. And so it's kind of giving, so it's a huge sacrifice on her part. And that's what the rest of the team were talking about. And Spike was like, no, we'll all still be friends. It'll all work out. Trust me, it'll be fine. And
That part worked okay too.
yeah, it did. I
That's
think people got that.
nice like visuals from Atomic.
I like the blow that you just see. Yeah, everyone's getting hit, and then also as it moves through.
Yeah.
And here she tries to explain that about photo finish.
Or at least their aura.
What?
She saw you at the wedding,
And then
she saw you.
I don't know. I kind of wish that because I would have liked stuff to be funnier, but then there was also like a time constraint because we were still trying to hit that 25-minute mark. But I kind of
There are a lot of changelings out there.
yeah. I think the joke there was like they're all Bonbon, so it was pretty obvious.
Just the entire equestrian armada.
But the I kind of like I thought of this later, but it would have been fun to have like then all the villains like come back. I don't know how the scene would end, but it's like Sunset comes back. It's like, well now you've defeated Chrysalis, now I can come in and Celestia's still down. And then Starlight comes in
I'll listen.
and it's like
See where that goes.
and then the mayor from IKEA comes in and then it's just a dumb
The Philly.
ham fight. And it's, yeah.
we had also that we wanted to wrap up Pinkie Pie's bit there with the future and the fact that she's okay with not knowing the future now.
I'm only sorry there's no way to bring back your powers.
This wasn't
Well, you can.
another joke he came up with.
I still couldn't have helped.
Then how?
And I thought it made a good connection because it just didn't fit their character anymore. They had this battle way back when, 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And, you know, that because they fought Sombra together and we knew something bad happened to her with Sombra, so I just kind of worked it all in
Absolute stillness and peace.
to give it to, again, that next dimension.
Yeah, because that's kind of a plot hole in the original show, too. Because it's like, why did they send her to the moon if you can just, like, zap her with the elements?
Didn't happen like that at all.
You wrote a book about it.
So,
Well, yes.
I love that.
but yeah.
They're-
I remember I
they're
kept
writing
on
the
cutting the
book.
book line because you kept on making it specific, like, oh, Star Swirl the Bearded's like 10 easy spells for the moon, or I don't, or something like that.
No,
I'm
was
like,
it? I don't know about
yeah,
that.
cut it,
I don't remember that. Well, it was like, whatever you cut, I'm glad you did.
something like
because
that.
I remember it.
Of course.
There was a Wrath of Khan reference that
Oh,
kept
that-
on trying
yes,
to
it
get in,
kept
but I
trying to
kept
get that
cutting it because
in.
it was too long.
That one. Yeah, that was going to be at the beginning, but instead we went with your sketch.
Yes.
Director.
Applejack.
Which
Now,
was a
and this
good
one-
decision.
It was a very good decision. This was in all the time because we thought it's important to see
Yeah.
Rare, you know, Applejack and Rarity together, very close.
Be honest.
They've moved beyond everything that happened back in 14.
Thanks.
And
I wish you weren't leaving. Well, I think it's time I go home. See what's changed. I'm not the same Rarity who left. Well, wherever you go.
and there was also this idea at one point I was thinking about, should I ship Rarity and Spike, you know,
Yeah.
and she goes back to be like an ambassador and he goes back to be an ambassador, and so they're working for Luna, that kind of thing, or
It was something that we definitely thought about, but in the end we just kind of left it implied.
Deal.
but they have a lot in common, both being from the Badlands. Now, and this is one that I was asked to add.
Yeah.
Spit it out pretty quick.
Yeah, and we were very lucky to get Jacob back in
Oh, that-
because
yeah, that was
I had almost lost contact with him, but I was able to get him back in, and he returned for Scootaloo.
You're probably right.
That's probably like the main reason why the CMC didn't appear in the movie is because I didn't have access to Jacob.
Maybe we have
But then,
And
then
they
again,
were
I
all
don't
fighting. I mean, it made sense in terms of
know. I don't
they were
know,
in the middle of
what
a
they'd
war
be
with-
doing in the movie either, because nothing they'd be doing would do it.
But this idea, I also like the idea that, you know, these little kids, but they're too old to play war. You know, they're too old to be involved in war. You know which is kind of like the reverse of what it really is, but maybe a way we should think about it. It's like war's a stupid game. No one wins.
And this scene was added. So I was recording when you were writing this, and then when I finished recording, you gave it to me, and then I recorded this part after the main recording. Because this was one of the things where it's like, oh, we didn't get to say goodbye to Fluttershy.
Yeah. And at this point, I just started writing, but then the idea of, hey, let's have them all kind of heading off to the next set of adventures, and let's start building in not what we're going to do, but maybe somebody else can do, and they can go and have some unique things. And just the idea of these guys going lower in altitude and getting more freaked out, more stupid, sounded fantastically funny to me. So
Making a sea pony.
Are you a
chicken?
It
Is
just
that what kind of bird you are? You're a chicken?
yeah. Or you see, Fluttershy's true
Shaky's
personality
perfect.
coming out again.
Yes,
it's
that's what
like
she's
now
about.
it's
So
like she's
obviously she's
basically
okay
in the
enough.
sky now.
yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Pinky? You hearing the song of the
And this, I kind of wanted to give the impression, I don't know if we actually pulled it off or not, but the fact that they've already sensed there is somebody already out there. And so her and Trixie are going to go check it
Yeah.
out. And kind of be this force to stop people messing with the fourth. So I thought that was kind of neat because you could bring Discord back. And so now these two are off
And
adventuring.
then they have like
Yeah.
another purpose going on.
Mm-hmm.
permanent? So just you and I, Applejack. Well, I ain't got plans to travel. I have apples to harvest.
So-
and Granny's
I heard some people say, wait a minute, where are they? Are they in
around more.
Ponyville or are they in, you know?
No, I always liked this library, but it feels feels like there's a lot fewer books on the shelves.
That
now.
was your line. with,
Yeah, I
library
liked
bird.
that line, and I think
It's-
it
yeah.
worked, and you delivered it very well.
It fits.
Yeah, it does. There's stores, people are leaving, but no people are showing up. And life's like that. I thought this was great too.
More masking there. So.
Oh, with the eyes?
Oh,
No,
Oh.
just her
Face,
face.
yeah.
The background's different.
feels a little. That
And then this scene was, of course,
Now I gotta
we
miss
had for
everyone.
at least a year before this episode
Yeah.
came out.
Came out, we just started laughing at this idea.
It's like, oh, it fit because it fits
It's-
Celestia so well,
And I have to, every
and
time,
everyone wins.
everyone
Well,
wins.
kind, everyone wins.
Everyone wins, you know? I mean, she's in charge of everything. She is the princess, not the queen, but the princess, because
Yeah.
she's the first princess. But Celestia gets that last, you know.
That can't be right.
But
She gets her lot. It's
It-
she's still
I've read about
Celestia.
but also
It's
Celestia
about 2
didn't
weeks.
2 weeks.
didn't really. Oh, I gotta watch it. I'm sorry, but I love how this is animated. Who did the animation?
This is Toaster, Toasterless.
Did he do those?
He did
Oh
all
my
the
gosh.
animation, yeah.
This animation's It's just
He got rigs
perfect.
from I think Minty Root, and then he did the animation. It's like, bam.
And that gets our biggest laugh from all the little blind reactors we ever have.
It's-
They laugh hardest at that.
It's the final joke,
It's-
you got to end on a laugh when.
So yeah,
it's-
I think we knocked out of the
concerns
park
with
with that
Scootertrix.
joke. But in Celestia's defense, and she even says this, she couldn't even contact her. So imagine this: Rarity's already knocked out, lost her power. Not Rarity. Luna's knocked out from Sombra, lost her powers somehow. And Celestia defeats Sombra, and now she's got to do something with Luna to get her powers back. She sends her up to the moon to restore her powers, but can't tell her it's okay to come back because she can't communicate with her. So, whoops. She's up there and stays for 1,000 years.
And it's just, yep.
Yep. Well, sorry.
Whoops.
It wasn't intentional.
Thank you to our patrons and our executive producers, and then I just thought it'd be nice to throw in this little message at the end, because it's all true. So, yeah, but that is and then the logo. There it is. Yeah, so 26.
We premiered it at BronyCon, a version of it.
Yes. Yeah, we premiered sort of 1 minute shorter version at BronyCon because we hadn't finished all of Sunset's stuff yet. So even at BronyCon, it was not done.
Yeah, and if you you'll see very little mistakes and things that were picked out later. And I think there's some reactors who did like blind reactions where you can actually see that version.
Yeah, you can.
So it's kind of fun to compare, but that's how short timed we were.
One of these days,
so impressed.
we may still. I think we're still working on it, trying to get the actual video of the panel out.
And do kind of here's a full crowd blind
here it
reaction to.
That's because we didn't film it right. That's the problem, is like we didn't film it right. So some of it you can see some of like the panel itself, like maybe 15 minutes to 30 minutes of it, and then it would have to be like the reaction of the crowd as they watch the episode and not us. So it'd be kind of weird, but we could probably still make that.
We've gotten a lot of the episode got a lot of positive reaction. A lot of people really enjoyed both at BronyCon and then after in comments that I saw. A lot of people said this is their favorite episode.
We did get a lot of positive response. I think overall it was probably the episode that got the most criticism, at least from what I saw. And that was a lot of it came down to these sort of big decisions. So making the episode more about Luna than the elements. The whole concept of the spell was also something that some people took issue with. And I mean, I can see where they're coming from, but at the same time, I support the decision still of where we went. Because I thought we needed to have an ending for Luna. I thought, the spell was a great idea.
You could certainly see
it fit with her.
Someone saying it's a
Celestia's
punch
character
out,
and
but
everything.
I think the way we did it really, it still fit in so well.
Yeah,
with all the characters and how it worked.
I think we did a proper story with it too. We followed a 3-act or the hero's journey with it and everything. I wouldn't say it's my favorite episode. I do like other episodes more. A lot of people said it's like Well, not a lot of people, but some people say it's like, oh, you might as well just watch the movie as the finale. That's a good a finale as any, but I'd still watch 26 as the finale. But I don't know, the movie was fun. What was your favorite episode of the series?
I really liked, I always go back to episode 10, and you start with 10 and you start moving from there. The episodes before that are really good.
Episode 10 is really good.
But 10, yeah, that's the one where you also the parasprites.
Yeah.
And it's just got so much humor and everything else packed into it. And that's also kind of where we really start to develop more of the stories.
That's where
you get into the fourth more, and you get into Rarity, and you start to get more storylines. I mean, we've hinted about some stuff before that. So, and 10's just funny, I think. So I enjoy those.
10's great.
Yeah, I wouldn't put this one at my top of the list either, but I think it's almost like you need to do 25, the movie, and 26 kind of as a unit.
Yeah.
And that's the whole end of our Scootertrix.
Pretty much. Yeah. Well, I always pictured 26 as coming like a bit after, like maybe even months after the movie.
I think so too. Yeah.
But yeah, 25 and the movie are definitely like on the same day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're back to back.
Yeah, they're back to
back. You
back.
really can't do one without the other. This
one
happens a little bit
I
later.
did make a list. I might post it here, but a list of the dates of when stuff happens.
Scootertrix world.
Yeah, in the Scootertrix world. And the whole series basically takes place over the course of 2-3 years, I think. So
and that was, you have that in like the 1400s or something, or the 50s.
Yeah, that's something that got people in what was it, 23, where people said it's like, what, Twilight's 100 years old, when she says like it was all in 1854, something like that.
Her flashback story. Or
yeah, in her flashback. Yeah. So Scootertrix starts in 1866. I believe originally was the winter of 1866, but which is why the first music is called Winter 1866. But it, as Toasterless pointed out, as he often does with a lot of things, where it's like, why didn't you do this? I'm like, God. But now it's supposed to take place in the summer of 1866 because it's the summer sun celebration. So I don't know why I didn't think of that, but
but that was kind
summer of 1866 is when the series begins, and it ends in like 18.
And it's that date because of the uniforms or the level of technology, and we wanted to kind of put it back into that time that would equate to what we'd have in the Western European world.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it looks like. So there was no plans to make season 2 at all. Mm-hmm. That said, I do still find myself, because it's not so much that I don't like Scootertrix anymore. I still like writing for the characters and everything, because I do write scripts still and sketches on stuff that I think would be great. And I did have general plans on season 2, which the more I think about it, I'll probably make some kind of video with like sort of, these are the ideas that we had of what was going to happen in season 2.
One thing we had mentioned at the con was the idea of, other people kind of picking up the mantle if they enjoyed Scootertrix or enjoyed these character versions. And Tangerine Blast, I know, has started doing the novelization. It doesn't happen exactly after this. I think it's between the movie and 26 is when her story.
Yeah, when
and she's got a couple chapters out. It was pretty good.
I read one of them with Pinky. It was basically a story about Pinky having nightmares about Discord killing her friends, and then Luna comes into her dreams, and that was the gist of the story, which was really neat.
And I think of other ideas too about writing little sketches or stories.
Season 2, because
it's like
Starlight would come back, and I'll do a whole. I'll do a whole thing of it, because there's like tons of little things where, because the dynamics of the characters would change in season 2, and there'd be all new stuff that happens, and it would definitely be much more distinct from season 1. I'm not sure what the overall arc would be, but there were definite themes that would go throughout it. But no, there's not a season 2. I'm not spending another 5 years on Scootertrix. I want to do other stuff. We have other stuff we're working on right now. So, but it's more of like a time thing. I don't want to spend time on it, but it's still fun to think about and write about. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But we're still going to do commentary on the Royal Correspondence and stuff. There are some of the episodes of the series that we haven't done, like the specials and stuff. So stay tuned for that. But as for like the main series, this is the last commentary. So thank you all once again for supporting the series and watching it and liking it. We never thought we'd get to this point. Any last words from you?
No, I just appreciate all the reactors and all the people met at BronyCon. Writing for Scootertrix has been a highlight of my life. It was just so much fun to write the characters, see it in my head, and then actually see it come to fruition on the screen, and then watching people react to it and enjoy the jokes. And again, I see a lot of our family in these episodes, even, Mrs. Wong. You're never wrong, baby.
That's right, baby.
That's right, baby.
Yeah,
just all kinds of stuff like that. And so it's almost like a family album to me, but I loved it. So and I thank you very much, Jack, for the opportunity to be part of the team and to write for the show.
Thanks for writing it.
It's been great.
There we go. Have a nice day.